So this is going to be my submission for GDQ for Hotline Miami new game menu percent, and I'm just going to start it off. All right. So first of all, this is Hotline Miami, of course, and the category we're playing is new game menu percent. So that means this is off of a new game save file, nothing unlocked, nothing done to it. Okay. And so we only have access to the Richard mask at first. So this mask does nothing. Now we also, as you saw, we started from the mask collection screen instead of the continue screen or new game screen, etc. That's just because we don't need to in this category. And we're also going to be skipping quite a bit by quitting to menu and then menuing over. So there's a lot of... This category has not that much downtime. It has less downtime, I'd say. I mean, it has the downtime right here, which is nice. But not quite as nicely paced as all levels is. But see right here, we once we get to the door, like we see this, the doors we normally go into in New Game Plus all levels or other categories, we hit escape to go to the menu, and then we want to quit out. And then it's a one button input down, and then just spamming the left mouse button. Also, usually I'm not that bad. I'm so used to Brandon at this point. Oops. There we go. Yeah. And so for the first two levels, we were going to use Richard. But on this next level, because on this level, you're going to see after the score screen, we're going to unlock the Tony mask. And that's going to give us lethal fists. And that's very useful because it makes us go quite a bit faster. So NG any percent is basically just the any percent category of the game. We have two different any percent categories, so we call them new game any percent and new game plus any percent. So this is just pure any percent category. So everything is allowed, of course. So later on we'll be seeing a couple skips. Now this level is very difficult in general. Oops, I did not mean to pick that up. That's a minor time loss. But yeah. This category goes by quite fast, and it's very similar to old New Game Plus All levels runs in that we're using a lot of Tony, but you'll also notice in a little bit we're going to be using a little bit of this mask called Graham, which makes us move a tiny bit faster. And also right here, this is going to be the first skip of the game, so what we're going to do right here is just come up to the wall, execute him at a slight angle so his gun gets pointed in a little bit better position, and then we just start going to take the guy that was right there who's running towards us, and we're going to use him, which we as you just saw, we knock him down in such a way that we can, once we start to execute him, it brings us inside of the door, which allows us to instantly kill him. And that execution brings us to a point such that we're able to skip the level. That type of skip only works on 2 levels. We'll see 4 other levels skipped in a slightly different way a little bit later. Also, I'm currently using Brandon's trap by accident. There we go. And also, you can execute people through walls. Not really useful in most cases, but yeah. Oof. I was a little bit too... there we go. Wait, come on. Come on. Alright, that was just... I am so not used to Tony at this point. I'm very rusty. There we go. That's how he usually reacts. Alright. Yeah, okay, that was really bad. Whatever. But yeah, tension, very straightforward level. The first floor is very RNG based and not very fun. And so this next level, as you see right here, we unlock Graham, and we're going to instantly use him. Because he is really useful for the next 3 levels, where he's just really... Like, it's really easy for you to save time with him. Whereas there are other levels which we could technically use him, but it makes it so much harder to actually save time. He only saves a little bit of time, and it's a lot more difficult. Come on. Really, he waited that long to shoot at me. This game has a vendetta. There we go. Okay. This weapon right here I was using right there was the crowbar, and the crowbar is like the best weapon in the game in terms of melee. And also, I prefer having a shotgun right there because, as you just saw, it makes it a lot nicer to go through here. Come on. That was bad. There we go. And then we're done. Okay. I get flustered on full house sometimes. I'm not very good at this level in general. It's one of my least favorite levels in the game, mainly because of the second floor. But yeah, so as you saw, we were moving a bit faster than we were when we were using Tony, and that's because, of course, we're using Graham, which makes us move at 116.66666% speed. And again, we're going to use Graham for the speed boost, which on this level really doesn't make a difference if you use Tony at all. Alright, that was really bad. But that's really not that big of a... Like, because on most levels you can save quite a bit of time with Tony, but on this level, besides the fact that I'm getting bad RNG, Tony is just really, really useless in general. It's just not worth it to even pick him. It's just a waste of your time. Oh, something really bad reactions right now. There we go. Ugh. This is why I'm so used to Brandon at this point. So rusty. Now the thing about Graham, of course, since we don't have Lethal Fist, so on this next level, we're gonna use Graham just because it's gonna because of the skip. But if we were playing this level normally with Graham, you technically could save time because he does move a bit faster and it's a very large level. But at the same time, the issue is that we don't have Lethal Fists, and we're not moving quite as fast. Alright, I messed this up. Since we're not moving quite as fast as Brandon, it doesn't give us as much leeway in terms of like not dying. That was really bad. He had a really, really fast reaction time. That's really uncommon. Again. I very, very rarely have issues with this skip. So this is the next skip that we're going to be seeing. And so this is called the neighbor skip because we're on neighbors, blah blah blah. This skip is a little bit done the same way as Decadence. The issue is the only thing is we need two people. Because the first guy we're gonna clip out of bounds, clip out here because we're not usually supposed to be out here. Once we go in, and then the second one is just to do what we did earlier, and then we're good. It doesn't skip the entire level; it skips us to the biker fight. So right now we're just gonna go into the biker fight. And it'll play out pretty much exactly the same as normal biker fight plays. So we just have to wait for him to slash twice, then we wait for him to throw his knife. And we want to make his knife throw be thrown at the door so we can minimize his movement. You can do a warp on this level in any %, but I'm nowhere near as good, and it's also like really, really difficult to pull off and slightly RNG. Well, not RNG, but just like it's so precise that you just end up failing it when you don't think you should. And previously we would not be able to skip the next level, but we'll see the first example of the new types of skips. So in November of 2017, one person asked someone on a YouTube why they didn't skip a specific level, and then everyone thought that they were joking, but then we replicated what they said, and it ended up that you can skip that level, which was Deadline, by going out of bounds as we just did right here, and then clipping into the car. So normally if you try to clip into the car like the normal method as we saw in Decadence and Neighbors, it would just restart the level. But for some reason when you go out of bounds, which we just clipped into, and then once you're out of bounds and you just execute them, for some reason it skips the level. We don't really know quite why. We have theories, but nothing conclusive. And yeah. Also, Crackdown is a very, very difficult level. I find it to be much easier with I found this entire level to be easier with Brandon, though that's not a very common opinion by a lot of the runners of this game. But yeah, so in November 2017, someone said that, and then we just went to work figuring out how trying to replicate it, which we did. We ended up doing. And at the same time, we then tried to see every level it worked on, and that so the skip that was found on Deadline led us to skipping both Push It and Vengeance and Assault. So there's currently, I'm going to be doing 5 of the skips total in this game currently, because I'm not going to do the Assault skip currently just because I'm not quite caught up on it. However, of course, if this was for some reason accepted, then I would relearn the skip. And it saves, I think, 40 seconds or less. I completely forget the exact timing. But yeah. So we've done 3 of the skips. There's 2 left. We're going to skip Deadline, which was the skip that found the newest 4. And then we're going to skip Vengeance. Deadline saves the most amount of time out of all of them. It's also the easiest. Okay then. And so, of course, on here we want to grab an assault rifle coming into this third screen, because we can do a strategy, though it's difficult, is quite a bit faster if you actually don't die, which if you don't die. This game can get you very salty very fast, as you can tell. Come on, mate, there you go. That wasn't, since I died so fast, it actually wasn't too much of a time loss. It also doesn't quite matter because I'm not that far behind estimate anyways. There we go. Okay. I forgot to pick up a weapon. Well, I started to pick it up. I actually double tapped right click, so would have saved a little bit of time to do that. So that's hot and heavy, and as you can see right here, there's a lot of tech screens because there's so many people we killed and a lot of different things that happened that this actually can add up to multiple seconds of time loss if you do it over different ways of playing through the level. So you can actually save quite a decent amount of time if you play it slightly differently. But in general, it's really not too much of a worry. Now here is Deadline, as I said. We're just gonna... Alright, that was messed up. I messed it up. There we go. Very easy to do. So we just saved quite a ton amount of time. And now coming up, Trauma. So we're just gonna play through this normally, but then at the end there's a cutscene, and in that cutscene we're going to Alt F4 the game, which of course closes the game, and then we're just gonna restart it instantly right after we see the save icon appear, because that save icon shows that the level has been completed fully, so we can move on to the next bit. And we can skip that cutscene just by closing the game and reopening because the level has been considered completed, which saves us, I think, 4 or 5 seconds. So right here in the bottom right, you're going to see right about now, that's when I just Alt F4'd. And so I'm restarting the game right now, and then we're going to go directly into Assault. And that saves, as I said, a couple seconds. Now we're going to play Assault normally, but once I actually were to learn the new Assault skip, which is very difficult to pull off, it does save a little bit of time. Also right there, I was sitting behind the table because when they're moving at you, if you're standing behind the table, they will not notice you for some odd reason. so you can use that to your advantage to give yourself a little bit of a like barrier between yourself and them. Alright, that was bad. I also didn't shoot this guy. Also, why? Alright, this was. Alright, I'm just gonna die because this is really messed up. The cycles. Alright. That's much better. Okay. Alright, that was really bad. Come on. So this screen is generally not too much of an issue until it is, but yeah. I thought he had a different weapon, so I tried to change his weapon by pressing escape, which on certain AI will make them switch their weapons if they have a randomized weapon that they're given. Then if you press escape, if you pause the game and then unpause it, then it will change their weapon. There we go. So I knew he was already running here, so I was just pre-firing down to right where he came out. Which saves us a little bit of time because we don't have to be so defensive in our approach. Now coming up is the last skip of the run. Well, the last level skip of the run, which is on Vengeance. So we have to wait for this to go away because right now I'm spamming escape, but we have to wait for that little text screen to go away. And so on this one, it's the same as the most recent skips, except when you mess it up. The only thing is he has a gun, so it's a little bit more difficult. But okay, usually that works out. Alright, now we just. He is much worse than usual. Okay, come on. There we go, okay. Even with all that time, it's still faster than playing the level throughout normally, which is really nice. Yep, there we go. That was not too good, but even still, it saved like at least 30 seconds, 40 seconds over playing it normally, which is crazy. I probably should have selected Don Juan. Actually, no, that's only on. Never mind. I was thinking of all levels, but this plays out the same on every single category this level does. Nothing really changes. So like, no matter what category you play, you'll play through this pretty much exactly the same. The speed of how much you move really doesn't really make any difference here. Use the strategy doesn't change at all, so it's pretty consistent. We still have to wait for this to go over, and we're actually not going to quit or anything. We're just going to go at the normal way as if this was New Game Plus levels to Safe House. And then we'll play through Safe House normally, but then we'll quit out from there. I meant continue, not quit out. Yeah, quit out to menu, yeah. Sometimes it mixes my terminology. So we just have to wait for this cutscene to go through, and then we can just spam the escape key, which skips this cutscene. And then we wait for this cutscene, and then we'll be playing as Biker. So Safe House is a very difficult level. It's also pretty impossible to explain because it goes by so fast. And it's also really difficult to explain it without you already understanding quite a bit about Hotline. But it's a very difficult level to pull off as fast as you can do it. It's pretty difficult to see why, as I said. But basically it just comes down to a very specific movement and also hitting cycles perfectly. So right here, we're just going to go into the bathroom, wait a little bit, then, yeah, there we go. Now we're reading Fun and Games. Fun and Games is the last like actual level to run, and we're just gonna go ahead. There we go. Oops. There we go. And we're gonna use, so we have 3 throwing knives, and we're gonna save 2 for this screen for the 2 guys in the top right, as you'll see in a little bit. Okay then. Okay then. That was weird. So there's a guy up there. He only has a melee weapon, so it's not that big a deal. We're gonna kill this guy first, then come over here and kill him. Sometimes that happens. If he has a gun, then it's a bigger issue, but since he didn't, it's not really that big of an issue for us. We can just largely ignore it. Again, we're going to menu, go into prank call. So the last 2 levels are really, there's really nothing much to say about them in terms of like pretty much anything. So we're just gonna go right to the end pretty much, and I mean, there's a little skip right here. The one thing I do have to mention is you move faster when you have your knife out like this, but the second we kill him, we put it away and we move slightly slower. So we want to kill that guy right there as close to the computer as possible, if possible. Just so that it will save a little bit of time. So if you kill him the second you walk in, you actually lose, I think, like close to a second amount of time, like 1 second in time, rather than if you just don't throw it. I don't remember the exact number, so. And then this is the last level of the game, which all we have to do is a little bit of movement and text selection, and then we're done. And we're going to go backwards through here, because otherwise it's going to turn us around anyways. So we're just skipping a little bit of an animation. Same thing with going forward right here. And then we're just going to throw our right arm first, and we'll be done the game right now. So that wasn't too good of a run. But the estimate I'm going to put is like 22:30 or 23 minutes. Which is, including like any amount of RNG you hit, is very, very easy to get below. And even though I'm insanely rusty right now, it's pretty easy to get below it. Other than that, I mean, New Game 90% was never shown at a GDQ before. There was AGDQ 2013, AGDQ 2014, and AGDQ 2016. The New Game Plus All Levels category was ran, and no other categories ever been ran. So no one has ever seen this, and it's also changed a bit over time. So there's a lot to talk about. But other than that, yeah,